In 2013, I got married. I know, we're cute. Due to a letter from the NHS saying my wife was to work on the Isle of Wight, we swiftly found ourselves swapping this for this. Since setting up a video production company on the island, I have found things that are amazing, surprising, and sometimes just weird. Welcome to my record of all these things. Hello, Tosin here from Blaque and White. Thank you for all those people who've been liking the Facebook page, watching the videos on YouTube, or otherwise just been getting in touch. It helps me think that I'm on the right track. Now, about a year and a half after moving to the island, my wife and I moved to Cowes. And when you live in Cowes, there's one thing you really can't avoid: boats. They are everywhere. I mean, there is no getting away from the fact that this is a boaty town. In many ways, Cowes gets its reputation and its identity from boats. People come from all around the world to Cowes because of boats. Massive corporate sponsors show up because of boats. I have previously mentioned in passing that I fulfill the stereotype of a black man who cannot swim. So I have spent a large portion of my life, my time and energy avoiding boats. The whole boating thing is a closed-off world to me. People who boat are a total enigma to me. So when I was informed by a friend that the Round the Island race was coming round, I found myself asking the question, exactly why is this such a big deal?
Yacht racing could be described not so much as a hobby as an addiction. Round the Island race is an amazing thing for sailors. It's the fourth largest public participation sport in the UK after the marathon, the Great North Run, the Great South Run. The next race is Round the Island race, and I'm very fortunate that when I first came to Cowes, not long ago, 2007 I started sailing. 2008 I was part of a crew that won this race, and it's just the most amazing sight. We've got 1,500 boats ranging from, top quality Grand Prix, Ferrari type racing boats down to what we're seeing going up and down the river here, family cruising boats. And because it's a handicap system, they all compete on an equal playing field. And it's the most amazing spectacle for the general public, and as a part of the sailing community, it's like going out for a run with all your mates.
With that ringing endorsement in my ear, I sauntered down to Cowes Esplanade to see what was going on. It was actually quite exciting. All these people around enjoying a sunny day, and I'm all for anything that A, brings people together, and B, brings people to the island, especially if they're here from other countries. The boats lined up like an armada in some Ridley Scott movie. The excitement built as the first class of boats. I think I've got the terminology right. As the first class of boats lined up waiting for the starting cannon. By the way, they have cannon! How cool!
30 seconds.
And they were off. I've got to be honest, I don't really know what's going on. I mean, it looked pretty, it looked amazing, it looked like the kind of life you'd want to have, but I didn't have a clue what was happening. So I went back to my self-appointed expert to explain to me exactly what happens at the start.
The start line is interesting. You'd be better asking Andrew, our helm, about that. Yes, you've got a lot of boats, but because the level of knowledge is not uniform through the skippers, you'll get the competitive boats all tend to start in the same place and then everyone else spreads out. But a good start is very important.
So Rebecca and the crew of the boat, the Haggis 2, kindly allowed me to have a camera on their boat to film what happens during the Around the Island race, and we agreed to meet up at the finish line. But what about all those people with binoculars who watch the race from dry land where it's safe? For that, I turned to my good friend Mandireen of the wonderful B&B Holly Tree House in Cowes, who it turns out was a Round the Island enthusiast and planned to chase the boats around the island by car.
So we moved to the island 2 years ago this next month, and this is the third time we've watched it, because the first year we were in Ventnor on holiday when we watched it the first time, but there was no wind, so actually a lot of the boats didn't make it all the way around. And then last year we were living in Cowes and running the B&B, and we went down and watched the start. It was a lot earlier, it was about 6 o'clock, 6:30. And we had a Belgian team staying with us, so they were up and out 5:30. We did breakfast at 5 o'clock, and then they went out to get to their boat. And we came out and we followed the boats around the island the way that we are today, and it was just one of the best days ever. So we're doing exactly the same this year. But it's even more exciting because we know someone that's in it. And my friend Sai here, her husband Nick, is one of those boats. He's on one of those there. But we don't quite know which one, and as you can see, there's quite a few. So it's a bit of a nightmare. So I'm going to take random photographs of all the boats, and maybe we can pick them out later. It's on my bucket list to actually do the race, and Mark, my husband, wants to do it too, so we're going to try and see if we can do it next year. So watch this space.
You're gonna have a Holly Tree House branded boat.
Holly Tree House branded boat.
Just shake the boat like a B&B.
Yeah. And I'd be cooking eggs on it. No, I won't. But no, so that would be really exciting, and I'd love to do that. But first of all, I have to learn to sail. Because I can't do that either, but we'll see.
From there, Mandy suggested,
Fancy a cup of coffee at the Isle of Wight Pearl?
I couldn't say no to that, so it was a quick drive along the Military Road, my favorite road on the island, along the south coast of the island to Isle of Wight Pearl, which is a bit like someone took the jewelry section of Selfridges and plonked it on a cliff on the Isle of Wight.
But actually they're flying today, and last year they were a lot closer in. I mean, I'm no sailor, but actually they're a lot further out. I think the wind has pushed them further out, and some of the big boats you can feel them, you know, the power. So this is when I think the bigger ones come into their element, where literally they've got so much canvas. And you can actually watch them overtaking some of the smaller boats. Now, I don't know, obviously they're racing in classes, so they're not competing with the smaller boats. But you can see the two-masted boats, particularly, there's a big one right out there. It's just sailing past everything on the outside. We were here 2 years ago, and they hadn't even crossed the Needles at this point because the wind was so slight. As I said, just make you want to be out there.
Did you see that wistful look in his eye? That is so sweet. Hanging around Mandy and Mark's rampant enthusiasm, I felt myself beginning to get infected and thinking, you know, this boating lark might actually be a good thing. After seeing them off to the Buddle Inn in Knighton, that is Knighton without a K. By the way, what is the deal with all the Knightons on the island? Anyway, after seeing them off to the Buddle Inn in Knighton, yet another brilliant spot for watching the race, I got a call from the intrepid crew of the Haggis 2. From what I understand, on a boat this size, there is no room for slackers, no room for hangers on. Everybody on that boat has to have a job. So if somebody on the boat had the time to give me a call, it set alarm bells ringing.
Great start, doing really well on the first beat. We were lucky this year, we were managing to find, our skipper was awesome this year, we were finding nice clear passage, so we weren't having to deal with other boats for clean air. We were certainly up in the top 3 boats as we were getting towards the Needles. Very windy, very gusty, and we took a gust of wind and it just snapped the car away from the track, and we lost steerage with our jib, our foresail.
All right, you just said about 4 words that didn't make any sense to me.
Sorry. Yeah, I was talking boat, Tosin.
Yeah,
You have 2 sails, a mainsail and a foresail, and we came back because we were going in a different direction on the wind. We could sail with just our mainsail, but that mainsail only wouldn't have given us enough steerage to get all the way around the island. So on our crew today, we had myself, I'm Rebecca, my husband Andrew, who has been sailing since probably before he could walk, and his father Stuart, who bought the boat, the same. So they are very keen Scottish sailors, which is why the boat has a Scottish name. And then we have Steve, who is a neighbour and has only been sailing for 2 or 3 years, so he has now done 1 1/4 round the island race. And Lewis, who is our youngster, you have to have a youngster, and it's his first round the island race.
Well, yeah, I really enjoyed it actually. It was a great experience. Shame about the carb snapping, but yeah, I'll definitely do it again. It's more like getting the experience and just being on the boat, being in a team, working as a team, sort of pushing the boat to its limits to get it actually round. I love sailing. I've always sailed for whole my life. I've done Cowes Week as well, so it's just another experience, isn't it? It's one of the biggest sailing events in the world, and you've got to do it to get the experience. And there's a lot of people liking the same thing. Like people like their music, people like their boats. So
it's pretty much just like a massive festival.
Yeah, basically, but with boats.
Now I think I'm beginning to get it. So, a year has passed and I still don't understand sailing. But if, as Rebecca says,
It's like going out for a run with all your mates.
and as Mandy says,
And it puts the island on the map again because we have so many wonderful things here. And I didn't even know this existed until 3 years ago. It's fantastic.
if it brings people together, whether to be active, to have the best day ever, or just to have a party, and man, these boat people can party. I don't have to understand it, I just need to appreciate it. And long may it continue.
You gotta fight! I said you gotta fight!
As I said, just make you want to be out there.
We said you gotta fight!